A lot of people were talking about episode one being mostly geared towards children or the younger people that would go see the galactic battle. But part two was pretty rough, but by the time part three came along, the same amount of kids were going to the movie, but some of the scenes in this were not appropriate for even adults. You had basically decapitations. You had a major battle between two major characters where basically body parts were cut off. And young children, including younglings, young Jedi, were summarily murdered. So the only movie we have to be talking about is Star Wars Episode 3. There should have been at least an NC-17 for violence for this, because if you saw this as a 12-year-old, it would scar you for life. Now this picks up on the plot of Battle of the Battle of the Clones is 3 years later. Now this one, orbiting above Coruscant, Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker are leading a mission to rescue evil Supreme Chancellor Palpatine from the cyborg separatist commander, General Grievous. After infiltrating Grievous's flagship, Obi-Wan and Anakin battle the Sith Lord Count Dooku, whom Anakin decapitates at Palpatine's insistence. Of course, he's the one that cut off his arm in the famous battle from the second movie. This was kind of weird because Anakin wanted to basically save him, but Palpatine motivated him to basically cut his head off, and this was after he cut both hands off. Now, in this one, Grievous escapes the damaged ship before Obi-Wan and Anakin crash-landed on Coruscant. There, Anakin reunites with his wife Padme, who tells him that she is pregnant. Soon after, Anakin has visions of Padme dying in childbirth. And we pretty well figured out that Sith Lord Palpatine is basically pushing all this information in his head to weaken him. Now, Palpatine appoints Anakin to the Jedi Council as his own personal representative. Distrusting Palpatine, the Council agrees but refuses to make Anakin a Jedi Master. They instead instruct him not to join them but to spy on Palpatine, diminishing Anakin's faith in the Jedi, or the good side of the Force. Meanwhile, on Utapau, Grievous relocates the Separatist leaders to the volcanic planet of Mustafar. Obi-Wan travels to Utapau, where he confronts and kills Grievous, while Yoda travels to the Wookiee planet of Kashyyyk to defend it from the Separatist droid attack on the Wookiees. And of course, this is where Chewbacca shows up. Palpatine tempts Anakin with the dark side of the Force, promising it can save Padme. Anakin deduces that Palpatine is the Sith Lord behind the Clone Wars and reports his treachery to Mace Windu, who confronts and subdues Palpatine, leaving the latter disfigured. Basically, it's a battle of electricity, and his face goes from a normal 50-year-old to about a 200-year-old. Desperate to save Padme, Anakin prevents Windu from killing Palpatine by slicing his right hand off. Palpatine then sends Windu falling to his death. Anakin pledges himself to the Sith, and Palpatine knights him as Darth Vader. Palpatine issues Order 66, which commands the clone troopers to kill their commanding Jedi generals across the galaxy, while Vader and a battalion of clone troopers kill the remaining Jedi in the Jedi Temple. Vader then travels to Mustafar to assassinate the Separatist leaders, while Palpatine declares himself Emperor before the Galactic Senate, transforming the Republic into a Galactic Empire. He denounces the Jedi as traitors. Now, Obi-Wan and Yoda survive Order 66 and learn that Anakin has turned to the dark side. On Coruscant, Yoda instructs Obi-Wan to confront Vader while he faces Palpatine. Obi-Wan seeks out Padme to discover Vader's whereabouts and reveals his treachery. Padme then travels to Mustafar, unaware that Obi-Wan has stolen aboard their ship, and pleads with Vader to abandon the dark side. Now, this is after Obi-Wan has told him he's basically murdered a whole bunch of youth Jedi. Very sad scene, by the way. When Obi-Wan emerges, an enraged Vader believes Padme has betrayed him and strangles her. Obi-Wan and Vader engage in a lightsaber duel, which ends with Obi-Wan severing Vader's left arm and both legs. Vader is then burned alive by a nearby lava flow as Obi-Wan retrieves Vader's lightsaber and leaves him for dead. And there's a whole speech, I love you like a brother, you were the chosen one. Like, it's a really sad scene. But to basically, I know you have to describe why Vader became Vader, but this is pretty dramatic. You don't cut away or anything. And it basically leaves plot holes for certain people who have not seen parts 4, 5, or 6. There's a few. They're saying, why didn't you just throw them into the molten lava? But like I said, it's a really fucked up scene because Anakin, Vader, he starts getting all bug-eyed like you would see in Total Recall, the movie with Schwarzenegger, and it gets really freaky. It's a very satanic scene, by the way, where, I hate you, and like it's like a curse. Now, meanwhile, Yoda has his own battle as he's taking on Palpatine, and of course they can't, culminating in stalemate. Yoda flees with Senator Bail Organa and regroups with Obi-Wan and Padme on the planetoid Polis Massa. Padme eventually gives birth to twins, whom she names Luke and Leia. However, overcome by stress and grief, she dies soon after, still believing there is good in Anakin. Palpatine recovers a barely alive Vader and brings him back for treatment and puts him in the Vader suit. Of course, I can't. Vader's mutilated body is treated and encased in a black armored life support suit. When he asks about Padme, Palpatine says Vader killed him out of rage, very happy that he's confused his young apprentice, leaving Vader devastated. No. Now, Obi-Wan and Yoda eventually conceal the twins' birth from the Sith and retreat into exile until the Empire can be challenged. As Padme's funeral is underway in Naboo, Palpatine and Vader supervise the construction of the Death Star. Bail takes Leia to Alderaan to raise her as his daughter. Obi-Wan delivers Luke to his step-uncle and step-aunt, Owen and Beru Lars, on Tatooine. Obi-Wan then settles nearby as a recluse while watching over young Luke. Now, it's definitely a better box office than the first two movies, but where it comes into a really, really confusion. There's a lot going on here because taking on, General Grievous, the aspect of the Sith, Samuel L. Jackson's character is basically murdered for no reason, and there was no indication in parts 4, 5, and 6 that Vader killed younglings. You're trying to motivate the young people to get into the movie, and members of your own audience, I'm thinking under the age of 13 or 14, there's still a lot of people that were going to Star Wars as a kid in the early 2000s. I know there's quite a few in my family. What the fuck is going on here? Why are you putting all this evil? We know that Darth Vader is evil, but I mean, it's just overkill. No pun intended. You're killing off beautiful members of the Jedi. You're killing off heroes. You killed off Samuel L. Jackson. I mean, the only reason why is because you don't hear about it later on. But there's some reference of the Liam Neeson character coming back as a spirit, which we got into in other movies. This is a 3-star out of 4 movie. There's a lot of interesting stuff. This can't be even described. I don't even. It was almost like it's not like NC-17, softcore pornography, but it was like literally so much is going on here evil. I wouldn't recommend anybody at the age of 13 to watch the movie without having some backstory. When they get a little bit older, I mean, this could give people nightmares. I mean, Anakin Skywalker, Darth Vader, is basically set on fire, and Obi-Wan is not putting him out. And why did Obi-Wan not just kick him into the lava? But that's just, it's a plot device. We still don't know why. But I'm just saying, Hayden Christensen has some good scenes here. He's very mediocre in part 2, but in part 3, again, he's not too bad. But again, it's kind of weird too. How did he deliver the babies? There's no indication. They were surrounded by robots, and Padme was delivering babies. Did the robots deliver the babies? There's plot holes like crazy. This is sort of like the last of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. There has to be some violence. But that scene on the lava floor, I saw it at one of the biggest theaters in New Brunswick, and everybody was basically saying, that's gross. You don't expect that type of violence in a Star Wars movie. You see decapitations, or, we saw Obi-Wan get murdered by Darth Vader, which doesn't make any sense. Like, he wasn't as mad as he should have been at Obi-Wan because Obi-Wan fucked him up. And you might say that Anakin Skywalker was suffering from the worst case of PTSD in the history of modern science fiction. That's all I can say. Again, the movie is not for kids. The movie is only for people that have enough backstory. And it was a shock to see how they were going to make Vader a triple amputee. I thought basically he just accidentally ripped off and, an incident or maybe, crash these whatever. But I didn't see that coming. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, if you like what you're doing with our kind of Star Wars reviews, especially the first 3 episodes, let us know with a like, comment, subscribe, or share.